crafty friends, it's Diane, the Creative Inkster, and tonight I am here with a rather messy but oh so worth it project. This is a gorgeous gilded leafing embossed piece of cardstock. So this is not foil paper. This is a great way to make use of a product called Gilded Leafing, which is in our catalog, the annual catalog on the accessories page, 141, and it's this bit here, number 11. You get 4 ounces, which is really impossible to describe how much that is because it really poofs out for $12.25. I've had it for quite a while and I still have quite a bit left. So let me show you what we're going to do with this card. You can make an absolutely stunning card really simply with a few steps. I'm also going to use one of my other favorite products, which is the adhesive sheets. So if you're not used to using your catalog to find stuff, on page 173, right near the back, there's a list of accessories and how you can find things. And adhesives is up here. I found the embellishments, which is where the gilded leafing is over here. So on page 138, we have right to the left of where the embellishments start, we have a whole page with our adhesives. And there's a variety of different words here and it can get confusing. The ones that I'm using are the adhesive sheets for $15.75. Hi Vicki. You get 12 sheets of 6 by 12 and you cut them and put them on your cardstock to use before you die cut or punch something out. And that helps to add double-sided adhesive, especially on those very intricate detailed items. Cling adhesive is something completely different for helping to mount your older clear mount stamps that were from a few years ago. I believe they have more of a green border on the card, the case, and this makes them more clingy. So that's a little different, just to give you an idea, so that these things are not exactly the same. So let's get started and get into this absolutely stunning card. And I love this idea as a wedding card because you can coordinate with the couple's paper choice, or color choice. So if they were going to go with more of an elegant sort of purple, this is Orchid Oasis. You could go with pinks, whatever, and but you're going to get the gold on this. And I've got some gold ribbon as well. That's the satin edged ribbon, 3/8 of an inch wide. Goes perfectly with this, so we'll play with that. And also some gold embossing powder. So embossing powders come in these little pots. There's 3 in a package. They're either metallics or neutral colors. Neutrals being white, clear, and black, and then the metallics being gold, silver, and copper. And I put them in Rubbermaid tins with these little plastic spoons that I got at the dollar store. I got these with the plastic spoons are pretty good, but they came with like paper sundae cups, and so I kept the spoons because they're just the right size to fit into these boxes. So we'll get to that too. Embossing powder, it gets everywhere. Alrighty. We're going to get everywhere with our gilded leafing. So look, check out the size of this box. It's, I got my paper on the centimeter side. It is 6 by 8, and I have it here. It's about, I don't know, a couple inches tall, 3 inches tall. And I have my gilded leafing in there because check this stuff out. It's quite staticky. So this came in a jar, maybe about this big, and it just poofs out. But you'll also need another little tool, just any kind of paintbrush. This is from the dollar store. Actually, this one may not be, but you can just use any one. And this just helps you move it around and get it to stick where you want it to stick. All right. First off, oh, see, that stuff escapes everywhere. Okay. We are going to get our pieces out. So what do we need here? We need a piece of basic cardstock, which is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4 and folded in the middle. That's our card base. I'm actually going to pull the camera a little bit further in. There we go. And this is the color here is Berry Burst. That's going to be my card base. And I'm going to mat my piece on some basic black because that's going to just make it pop right off the page. So this is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I've got a piece of white. I've got two pieces here. One is 3 3/4 by 5. That's the piece I'm going to put the gilded leafing onto. And then my 4 by 5 1/4, it's just going to go right inside the card base. So I have a space to write it on. Sometimes when I'm doing an important card like a wedding card or even maybe a sympathy card, I sometimes put the white piece in after. I write on it separately and then glue it in. But I do like to have pieces already in here. You could always double it up, I suppose. What do you do? Do you write on them separately and then glue them in? Sometimes I like that in case my thought just doesn't flow and I don't say what I really want to say. With birthday, it's usually fine, but sometimes I want to think about it a little more with a wedding or sympathy card. So there's our card base ready to go. We'll tuck it to the side and we'll put the black mat to the side as well. We don't need those just yet. That's for our greeting. So this is a piece of adhesive sheet. It was 12 by 6, and I've cut this piece down to fit on my 3 3/4 by 5. And I tend to get it not too much bigger because I don't like a lot of the adhesive to stick out. It means usually that um, it will go onto my emboss machine, but in this case I definitely want it right to the edges so that the gilded leafing will stick everywhere around, and I'll show you what to do when it doesn't, because that happened on the other card. Alrighty, so you get this double-sided stuff. Hi Glenda. And you'll see when it's a full 6-inch sheet across, it's scored at every 2 inches to give you a spot to peel the backing off. It's a visual thing. I usually can't see with my old eyes the side. So you peel off the one side. This is like wax paper. That's your garbage piece. And then I lay it down over top of what I'm going to emboss, or in this case put gilded leafing on. So let me just tuck this in here into the corner. Okay, and we're going to press it even more, but I just wanted to get it situated. Pull the next segment off. So depending on how you cut the adhesive sheet will determine how many perforations you have, or none at all sometimes, depending on what you're working on. And if you find that you don't get adhesive for this card idea everywhere, we've got a little fix for that, or you can trim it down. All right, so I'm going to grab my bone folder. This is the adhesive sheet side, and I'm going to just press this along, and that will help the adhesive sheet backing stick nicely. So we've got that on there. Next thing we're going to do is peel the backing off. We're going to get our gilded leafing close at hand here. So we're going to peel the backing off. And you want to be careful with this. You just, so that you're not, it should leave it behind, but sometimes when I've lifted it up, I found, oh, it didn't quite adhere as nicely as I'd like. So I go back over it before I get too far along. So I have success with it. There it goes. So I'm peeling the backing off. Now I'm leaving that piece that was in between that was sticky. There. Hi, Janet. Oh, great. Yeah, I know. You buy it. Hi, Brenda. You buy it and it's like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do with this? Anyway, there you go. Yeah, put it in when you just need to stamp. No kidding. So I can see that I don't have some adhesive here. So before I start getting carried away with my gilded leafing, I'm going to try to fix that spot. So I'm going to hold it up and hope that you can see that little spot right here where the adhesive sheet didn't take. So I'm going to put some tape runner on it, a Stampin' Seal. So, you know, this is going to be a messy little project, folks. I'm not going to lie. And I don't usually do messy. All right, sticky side up so we know where the sticky side is. Open up your bin. So as soon as you get the gilded leafing and start using it, put it in a bigger box. You're going to need that. All right, and then this is what I do. I just take it in and I toss it in. I gently press it down. Now some pieces are going to float up. That's just going to happen. That's just the way it goes. All right, and I can take it with my finger and kind of pull some of the edge pieces off. But I do want to make sure that I've got it in the sticky spots. So it looks pretty hairy right now, right? It looks pretty thick and furry, if you will. So this is where that paintbrush comes in. I haven't experimented with a thicker paintbrush, but perhaps that would be the ticket actually, or I've never even tried a foam one. This is just one that I have in my craft room that I use for all kinds of things like embossing, powder, or whatever else I need to like just get rid of little bits and pieces with. So I'm carefully holding this in one hand and just gently going over it to break up the leaves, and I'm letting them fall back into the bin because they're not sticky, the pieces that fall off. That's the whole thing. They're still light. So you can press a little harder. We're going to emboss this, so we're not worried too much about how it looks right on the front. If there are lines from the paintbrush or that, don't worry about that. That's okay. It's a-okay. We're just trying to get it all covered. Now you can do a beautiful piece of foil paper, and that's a great idea too, but this gilded leafing goes a long, long way. And that's why I kind of like this technique and this very elegant card to be done in this fashion versus using what's fairly expensive foil paper. Not that I don't want you to buy it, but you know, we're trying to be a little bit frugal here. Okay, so I keep moving it around and getting other pieces off, and you can probably see them flying by. That happens. And I'm just trying to get it down to mostly just flat on the paper. And then I'm getting the pieces off the back because don't leave any behind. Leave them back in your little bin. Okay. And that worked well. That little spot where the adhesive sheet didn't take has been filled, and some of the gilded leafing has stuck to the Stampin' Seal that I put down. So I love the adhesive sheets. I find them super, super helpful. Okay, I'm good with that. If there's extra pieces here, I'm okay. They'll be on the back and they'll be put in. Just gently peel them off here. They'll be underneath the card, and that'll be fine. All right, so you're looking to make sure that you're nicely covered. Now, an important thing is to grab the lid of this box and stick it over top, because you don't want that stuff like escaping. Otherwise, you end up with gold all over you and all over your space and that good stuff. Yeah, the next time I wear this work shirt into the office, I'll be nice and shiny. Alrighty. Now we're going to go to the embossing part. So I'm going to pull my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine in, and I use the Countryside Blossoms embossing folder. Oh darn. This is a standard, and I grabbed the wrong plates. So I'll just go over and grab the right ones. So for the new Stampin' Cut and Emboss, which isn't really new, but for the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, when you're using a standard embossing folder, you need to put it between two of the acrylic plates. Sorry, mine are very loved and quite cut up. So the first one goes down here. If you have the Big Shot or any other kind of die cutting machine, you're going to have to play with your sandwich on this, whatever works for your embossing folders. I'm going to open the embossing folder. Now it's kind of important to think about the embossed, debossed version of this. I'm also going to add some ink on top, so I want it to be raised up through the gold. And that is by having the side with the logo is going to be up. And by that I mean it's going to go in like this. So I like to use the black line at the bottom to help me line up an embossing folder that is maybe not random, and I want it to look straight. I'm going to stick that down here, and you're probably wondering, is it going to come off inside your embossing folder? Yeah, it did a little bit. I took it to the sink and washed it and let it dry, and it was fine. First, I started with my handy dandy brush and brushed it out. But because all the sticky has already been covered with the gilded leafing, it wasn't sticky inside my embossing folder after. So let's move this out of the way. Just putting that on the floor. All right, we'll get back in business here. All right, so I'm going to peel this off. And look at how beautiful that is. So yeah, there's a little bit of gold leafing behind. So I can just later on just kind of go at it with this. I went at some of these pieces with my nail. I just washed it out. It was fine. So there it is, embossed. There's some of those little extra pieces there that I didn't take off. I can have another go at them this way. It's kind of like shavings. There we go. Let's get rid of this gold mess here. Oh, my garbage bin is not close at hand. Well, we're just going to have to toss it on the floor and live with gold. That's fine. Now we're going to add something to this. We are not going to leave this just gold. We are going to take it up a notch. And what I did to make this happen was I grabbed my StazOn ink. StazOn black. I haven't tried it with any other color. I only have black. And I'm going to need something to kind of hold the corner so I don't get covered in StazOn. I mean, it happened anyway. I told you, this is going to be a messy project. Yeah, don't let it collect dust. I know, right, Glenda? I was afraid too. I've done this a few times, let me tell you, before I was comfortable showing other people. Okay, so I'm using my Take Your Pick tool. Wait a second, I feel like the light has just gone bizarre. There, is that better? I don't know. If we're having trouble with lighting, I'm not sure what's happening. Okay. Hi, Mish. So I'm going to grab the StazOn, and this is a solvent-based ink, not water-based, and I'm going to go down the embossed piece like this. So I'm going to show you a few passes and kind of how it starts to look, and you can compare the left and the right side. So yeah, there's an angle. That's the left side with nothing on it yet. That's the side with the black on it. And I didn't press very hard. Don't worry about your ink pad. We've got a solution for that too. We can fix anything. Okay, so far so good without getting covered in StazOn ink. It washes off. You can use your StazOn ink cleaner, or actually I see I have it upside down, right? Or you can wash really well with soap and water. It'll come off your fingers, don't worry. And I'm just going over it, and it's grabbing the raised edges from the embossing and adding the black onto it. Now a little bit's going to go in the crevices. That's okay. That's totally okay. And this takes a little bit of time to dry. You could also pat it if you're more comfortable. Now, here we are with our ink pad with gold flecks on it. Not a problem. I used a lint roller and it just picked it all up. So I will go ahead and do that afterwards. But just a lint roller, 1 cup, 2 passes to kind of get it off, and it was fine. Or you could dedicate one of your StazOns to something like this, to messy projects. All right, here we are with this. Now, doesn't this look stunning? I'm just going to get that little hair from that brush off. Wow. Hey, Shauna, my goodness, my friends are all here. I feel so special. Check that out. So now when we take a piece of black and mat it on the black, I mean, wow. Wowzers, wowzers. All right, we're getting there. I'm going to glue this down. If you'd used foil, I guess you could use a different kind of glue or something, but this is just plain old white cardstock, so it will go down great with liquid glue, my favorite. And if you find it's not drying or it's a little bit thick and heavy in spots, just grab a tissue and carefully dab it. Do I have tissues handy? Probably not. I'm going to flip this over. and press it down because I know it was in place. There we go. And there we have it. So you do want to kind of let it dry. That wasn't too bad, just a little bit of inky fingers. Not bad at all. All right, so now we're going to do the embossing. No, we're not, because the stamp set's not right here. But you get the idea. I'm going to add mine afterwards. In the meantime, I'm going to add my ribbon. So you've seen me do this ribbon trick before where we save ribbon instead of wrapping it around and all that. We just cut a piece, just about 1/2 inch more on either side. And we put some adhesive. Don't use liquid glue. You're all pretty seasoned stampers, so I probably don't need to tell you that. See, it's still a little tacky because it's sticking to the paper. But you want to use a tear and tape or glue dots or Stampin' Seal, but not liquid glue. Put that on there. And then I'm going to glue it straight down. So once more with the liquid glue. Could pop it up, decided not to. Get that on there, and look at how gorgeous this is. This would even make beautiful wedding invitations with the right embossing folder, right? And then for my bows, just go ahead off the roll and tie a bow, and I glue dot it with a couple of glue dots in place, because I'm going to save about 4 inches of ribbon. I could have probably cut that one a little closer to the edge. And grab my glue dots and glue dot this into place. Now, if, like my first one, there was a spot where the adhesive sheet didn't work, and packing tape, yes, that works well too. And actually, people have used some of the packing tape also for this technique. As long as it's double-sided. But yes, you're right, that will help remove it too very easily. Shauna, thank you. If on your piece you find that there's a spot where it doesn't actually sit, the adhesive didn't stay, then and you're trying to get your flakes to go on there, then I just put my ribbon around it. That's kind of the spot where I decided that was going to be covered up. So I will do some embossing, heat embossing, when I get the stamp set close, and put a greeting on this one too. This Best Wishes is from Layering Leaves, one of my favorite new stamp sets. Love, love, love the greetings in it. So thanks for watching. A simple yet very elegant and effective technique. So once again, what you need for this is the gilded leafing. It's $12.25 for an amount like this that will last you forever. And the Stays On ink and your adhesive sheets or packaging type, any kind of double-sided tape. But I find the adhesive sheets are perfect because you can cut them to the size that you need. All right. And an embossing folder, of course, right? Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening. Bye for now.